Okay, we got some cool stuff here today. Gotta correct these guys, which is basically starting at one end of the floor joist, looking up from the basement up to the floor joist for level 1. Actually, have the dimensions of every single joist almost all the way across, because I got 35-foot tape. I ran slightly short, so I got a little bit to gain on or catch up on there. I want to put this over on this other side, and just real quick, this is my contact information. If you need professional services, residential or commercial, I use this AutoCAD software, of course, to do my drawings, and right now I'm working on this framing plan, so I gotta get this straightened out. We'll go through that now. And then, just FYI, I also use Chief Architect software, which is pretty cool stuff. And just found out I'm having some issues with my ability to use my function buttons. When I go to the other half of this giant screen, I can navigate just fine using my space mouse, but you can't back up your settings and all your customizations and stuff, and that I know of, with the 3D Connexion Space Mouse Pro. Mine's the wireless version. So when I hit the what's it called now? The button 1 through 4. I'm hitting button 1, and I should get a bunch of menus, 8 of them. Radio menus, what they're called. Instead, I'm getting a function that's pre-programmed in, which means customization went away. We're going to ignore that I have that issue for now and figure out what's going on here, because I found out my layout is slightly off. Because this very first one, what you're seeing at the gray line, is the edge. This is the center line, and then all these are center lines of the joist. So with the layers isolated from below, or into, sorry, not below, but actually isolated and locked. It's, the XREF portion, the walls and such. When I grab all these, it kind of looks like I grabbed those, but I actually didn't. And so what I need to do is grab that piece too. I'm going to go ahead and grab this, although I think it's probably incorrect. So looking at this from the wall, the outside edge of that joist is 2 inches. When I come here, and this is an X line I put in here, so it's an infinite line. I'm going to get rid of these lines. Select them, hit delete. Come in here, and then I'm going to move all of these over, because this distance from the edge that we saw in the picture to here should be 2 inches. And it's 4 11/16. And sometimes it's not a perfect 16th because of whatever happened that threw it off in the first place. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab all these. And it looks like it's grabbing my external reference, but that's locked. So even though it selected it, it won't move it. So now I'm going to move, and you can see it deselected as soon as I hit M for move. I'm going to pull this edge back to here. Now I'm going to move, hit P for previous, it'll select them all again for me. Then I'll move it from here over to be exactly 2. Now I know it's on 2 straight up. So let's check the next one. So I can go back and forth on one screen, or I can just go here. So that is showing that, if I zoom in here, these things are not quite 1.5 inches in most cases. They tend to be. So if I go in at 16th and start there. So I got 3/4, 3/4, there's my inch. 1.5. And then I've got an extra 1/16 either side. So they're actually all turning out to be 1 inch and 5/8. So that being said, I've got 3 marks on that side, 3 marks on this side. I know dead center is going to be right at 18. So I'm back here, and I do that a lot simpler in most cases, but just to be sure, let's check this guy. So from the edge to here should be 18 inches. So let's take this guy and say D for distance, measure it to here. Is it 18 straight up? It is not. So when I move, I'm going to grab them all again and see if I start getting some consistency. So I'm going to offset 18 because all the measurements are made from that edge of wall. Oops, went the wrong way. I'll just grab it again. Excellent. Pull it over and drop it. Now I can get rid of this because it doesn't do anything. So that 18 is where all these should be. So once again, I'm just going to grab, and when I snap on a line like I just did, I'm going to hold my shift and deselect that one. Then I'm going to come through and grab this, that, because these should be just barely offset because they lap on the actual drawing. So now from here, edge of wall, to here is 18 inches, and I want this to be there. So I'm going to move, see I've got them selected, and now I'm going to move them. Headache. They're selected, so move. There we go. They are still selected. I don't know what was causing that, but I'm not worried about it anymore. So now those are over. This distance, just to check to see if my offset's working out, that needs to be, so it's 1 9/16, which is half of, no it's not. Oh, yes. So from center to center should be 1 5/8. I'm at 9/16. So I bet if I move this whole section down here back to 16, I'm going to be at 5/8. And so I'm just going to grab all of these and this one and move it from here. 1/16, enter. And now this should be 1 5/8, which is center to center. There we go. That looks good. So with that there, off screen, I just switched over to the next one. So it is nice to zoom in and see what I've got. And so you can see that there's a little shift, but it's pretty darn close. So if I come in the quarter, now I've got, there's the halfway point if it was 1 1/2 inch, but it's not. So it's another 16th. So it's just going to be 37 1/16 will be the center of the next one. So I can actually get rid of this because I'm offsetting everything from the wall. So it's 37 1/16. And you can see that entering down here. Ooh, my space didn't come in. Oh, I hit space. That won't work. Space is enter in AutoCAD. So I want to offset 37 1/16. And as I said, you can see it coming down here because my live at the cursor has not been working. There, and look, it's off. Is it off of 16? And it is. So that whole shifting of everything I did down there, I'm going to move all of these. So we're going to move, and here's a crazy select. I'm going to grab left. Now I grabbed a bunch of beams and posts I don't want, but they're right down the center. So I'm going to hold this shift, and now I'm going to window select that area, making sure I go from right to left. Window select. Pay attention, Chief. Right to left window select is freaking handy instead of having to click a button to make that happen. It's just a direction in AutoCAD. So that should be good. Now this should be the 1 5/8. Perfect. Okay, so that one's looking better. Now hopefully here I'll start hitting them. So my next one is 53 7/8 to the edge, and so I want to add 3/4 to that. So I'm going to be at 54 5/8. So let me just double check that. Oh, because I've got that. I got to split that difference. So I'm going to take the 54, come over to 3/4, and come back a 16th to be in the center. So 54 3/4 minus a 16th is going to be 11/16. Because 3/4 is 12/16. So 54 11/16 is my offset. Offset 50. Didn't show up? No, it didn't show up. 54. I too like having it live at my cursor. I figure out why that's not doing that. 54 11/16. I might even investigate that. Put this on pause. Investigate that. Put the dash in. Oh, my dash button is stuck. Must have got some goop in there. Because it's stuck down. There we go. Popped up. Now let's see if it'll stay up. Okay. 54 11/16. And let's bring it across. And look at that. Oh, it's not right. Is it off by 16? Mind if I fight this back and forth, back and forth? Okay, so we're going to move all of these. And grab it if you're hitting. So I got to find some blank space. So I don't want that far back because I want to grab those ones. I want to grab just the stuff under this white line. Now I come over, grab all those, and then hold the shift and deselect what's down the center. And then I'm going to use here, back to there. Now I can get rid of this. And we can check the next one. And so, let's do this with you. This is not as easy to read, but it looks like 16th over, 16th over. So I could just go from the half to the full, and 3/4 is going to be 73 1/4. So, knowing that, offset 73.25. Another nice, easy way to enter. Thank you, AutoCAD. And now I'm going to move that and that and those less what's down the middle. And God, I hope one of these starts to hit my pattern back because I already did all these. So the next one is going to be, there's my 8, so I can do this one easy. So it's just come over the 3/4, back a 16th. So it's 3/16, 92 and 3/16. So set 92. Sorry, I was making sure I wasn't on pause on my record there. And about that down 16. Let's just move this one and this one and see if I'm off an 8th on the next one. So move from there to there. Or see if that's what's going to fix it is. I don't know what that would be. Except that they were all 16ths apart. No, I used this to do them. I didn't do an even spacing because I don't know if they are evenly spaced. So this one goes from 110 1/4 to 111 3/4 ish. You can see it's closer to that than the other. Now, if I'm up by a 32nd, I'm not going to mess with that. So, 3/4 in puts me at 111 straight up. Offset, 111. And look at that, it's going to be an off an 8. 9/16. Don't know what to say. Let's see if these guys are still working out. And that is 1 5/8. So those are still working out. So let's move that and that. And then I want to grab these. So I'm hitting something in the locked layer there. That's what's causing that. You hit select, select, select. It's because I am doing something, but it's so dark I can't see it. Then hold the shift, get rid of the middle. And then move the whole system over from here to here. Now, let's show this thing about selecting stuff in AutoCAD that's really kind of cool. So, let's just for a moment pretend that I need a joist back here that I'm going to join to. And it's going to be my rim joist sitting on the wall. So, for printing clarity, what I've always done is I have copied a base point and pull the direction I want and say 2. Now I've got that up there too. So if I make it MA by match properties, grab that, I just turned it into a symbol for a joist. Yeah, that's not really what I want. So I've got it chosen, and being it's up against the wall or on top of the wall, it's kind of like a rim. I'm going to call it the ledger. All my ledgers are at scale factor of 24. So, or actually, I've been using 12 on this guy lately. Been some tighter areas where it was harder to see that it was the ledger symbol. So that's offset 2 inches because the line thickness, because I still use color to give my black and white plots thickness. So with line thickness, these will just blend together if I'm closer than 2 inches. So I leave them out too. So now I'm going to extend to this. And then when I come across this thing, because I've got all that stuff, oh, I didn't hit enter first. When I hit now select crossing, so if I'm crossing, all I got to do is touch it, and it'll extend it out to that. Now, didn't grab that one for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I didn't go far enough. But there's that one now, and so it's in great shape. That quick. Check my other end. Looks good enough. I'm still missing my piece here, but hopefully we're going to discover that on through here. So that's what I mean about this selecting different things. And let's say if I were to turn off these two. Now one thing is I could freeze that layer and that layer and that layer. But what I'm working with is this exterior wall layer. You can see what it's chosen. It's exterior wall layer. That X line, an infinitely long line. So if I go up here to this isolate, and I isolate that, and my joist, that's all I really need. Because I want clarification of sight, I'm going to grab that guy. And I can even grab this guy, really, because it's not in my way. Now I've got the whole visual thing going on. So when I hit that, you'll notice that that new ledger line just froze. So it actually turned, no, it froze it. Let's just check. So if I go to my layers, go down to structural layers, and I look at that one for ledger, it's locked. Sorry, it's locked. So even if I can see it, I can't move it, can't change it. It's there. So now I can select whatever I want. I don't have to deselect any of these beams and posts because they're all locked now. So that's what I mean about being able to just this layer, and then when I'm done, I'll hit this unisolate button, and they're all back. So on to the next one. We did 111. So let's take a look. What do we got here? 128 3/4. Do 130. 16th. This is just over the 3/4, just less than the 16th. This one's almost 1.5 inches. So I'm going to just say that it is, and we're going to go dead center right there, the 129.5. So that's going to be our next number, and that will tell me where I left off. I don't even have to keep track. So come in here, offset 129.5. That's what I love working in inches instead of feet and inches. There, over there. And now I'm off. What am I off by? I'm just curious. See if I can figure out what happened. That threw me 3/16. Yeah, I don't even know what's going on. So now, but what's quick about this now is I can just say move, and I can grab all of that. And it didn't grab any of my exterior wall because it's a polyline. I'll show you that in a second. I'll show you why it didn't grab that, even though it's not locked. From here to here. Now that's all. All these came with it. And so this is a polyline. It's one line. So when I window select in this direction, it's only grabbing what's inside completely. So it has to be within this window that I just created for it to select it. So that white exterior wall line is not completely within the window. So it didn't grab it. Now if I go the other direction, Chief Architect, pay attention to this. Go the other direction. That's called crossing. So anything that it crosses or is in it. So it also selected those two lines. Now it didn't really select these. If I say move, give it a command, you can see it deselected all that stuff that's locked. And now I can move it. But I don't want to. So I'm going to escape. Let's hit save. Save often. That is the number one lesson you can get from any of my lessons. Save often. So back to my pictures that are on my other screen. I'm at 147 1/4 to 148 3/4. So it's going to be 148 even. Are we right on yet? Ooh. I think we are. Hope we hit something. So let's go to the next one. And this is my favorite number. 6 7s in there. So let's see, we got 3/16, 3/16. Puts it at this quarter mark. So that's not right. So that's 1 inch. Then I've got 1 inch and 1/4 inch and 1/2 and 1/8. So I need the 3/4 plus 1/8. Which way is better to come? Neither is better to come from. So if I go to this guy, let's come back. 1 2 3, back an 1/8, now back a 16th, and that should be it. The center. So that is 166 and 13/16. I'm gonna get a comment on that. Offset 166 dash 13/16. Boom, boom. Because I probably didn't do it right. Okay, so it's off again. But I can just say, hey, I only need that, move that. I don't have to deselect everything because I've got locked layers going on. Move that to there, get rid of this. So let's see if we can get this dynamic thing going. Why are my dynamics not showing up? I'm going to pause and figure it out. Show you what's happening. Alright, turns out that's a really simple solution. If I want my dynamics to show up, somehow it got turned off. And if I click down here, on 3 lines, go to dynamic input and select it. That's all it took. So now my next one, I don't know if I did this one. I don't think I did. Okay, so we're at, looks like I got kind of a skewed view. So I'm going to say that that's probably right on. And that's probably right on. Which is a weird number because now I'm going to be a 16th wide. But hey, it's an old house, old lumber. I don't expect it to be perfect. So if I've got, there's my 1, 2, 3/4, 1, 2, 3/4, and then I need to shift the whole thing to the right. So I'm going to call it this guy. So instead of 185 being in the middle, it's going to be 185 and a 16. And I can do 0.0625. It's doing it down here. Didn't do it on my cursor. Oh boy, that's close. Is it exactly a 16th because of a... No, it's an 8. Okay, it went to the other side. But I'm going to ignore it for now. Fixing it as if I had never done it. Just to make sure it's... This is extreme. I usually just roll them on out at some on-center average. This is definitely extremely accurate. I wouldn't recommend this for every project, but we do have, in a later video, I'll show you the problem that I'm dealing with somebody did some home improvement stuff that I wouldn't call perfect. So it looks like everything kind of shifted. So there's supposed to be my center, but back is 16th. So 203 and 3/16. Offset 203 dash 3/16. Not quite right on. Next, and on down. I will come back, because this is getting monotonous. One thing I do want to show real quick, since I'm moving this, or ah, 90. Now that I'm done, I can get rid of my reference line and I can just go E. Off. I don't want to grab any of it. What I want to work on is figuring out where this occurs. I kind of have this laid out and I can use it to go back to it. So these yellow are just based off equal spacing because I just couldn't find really good information. I did have about a 31-inch measurement off of the face of this to the next one. I can hear it more than I can see it. So just kind of laid this in here based on splitting, copied basically this from here to here, placing it there, and then again to this, copied it from there to there, placing it there. So then copied these ones across, turn them all yellow to let myself know, hey, I mean, I have this right. And then on each side of these gives me the thickness of the joist based on the fact that they're not 1.5 inches, but they're 1 5/8 inches. So if they are 1 5/8 inches, then this actual spacing here won't quite work because if this is 1 5/8 inches, then my distance from here to here is going to be less than that. So yeah, it's less. So the distance from here to here, oh, it is even. There to there, 13/16 there to there. All right, so maybe we're okay. Maybe I thought that through before I did these reverse offset. But what I am missing, this looks great. Where this locates for this drawing, you can see that here's the post, there's the post, and it's just off to the side for this guy. And when I'm looking this direction, which I am in this photo, all of these are to the right. This one's to the right, that's that guy. As we go further down, this is that mix mash of whatever they did in through there, and this will have the same. And then I think we return, and that's a little unclear, so I'll look at more pictures, but I think above this guy we return to the right thing. So here, I need to mirror that guy around, oops, sorry. I need to mirror this around here, and this around here. And for some reason, visually, upside down, it's just not working. And I don't know what I'm seeing incorrectly, but let's try something. Flip it. Jeez. If I flip it up the side and down, bring it in so I can see both at once. Get this down here. So this guy is that post. When I'm looking at it upside down, I can't see this one. I'm looking this way. Actually, I'm looking this way. Then on the next one, again, I'm seeing this side. I should be, yeah, that is the end. That is the end. So I should see it from this side. So it's almost like I have it backwards. Because that is the south wall. So I am looking. See, this is where it's so confusing. Look at it upside down. But south is, yeah, it's not that way. So, I just got to think it through. Because this would be south. So if I'm looking at this guy, then on the right-hand side, left-hand side, looking south. And so this is on the right-hand side. So I'm looking towards the south on the left-hand side. So looking, I'm standing here, I'm looking this way, and this guy's on the right side. So I think every single one of these flip reverse deals are backwards. So I think I need to go through, and not that one. I need to delete them. I need to get my drawing in here and then use it to get these all flipped and spacing correct based on this being 1 5/8 on average pieces, which means that between the two should actually be 1 5/8, and it is 1 5/8. So that's all looking good, except they're flipped. So I'm going to flip all of these south side ones to the opposite side and then come and find the bad ones, which should be this one and that one for sure. So I'm going to mirror this one over. Yes. And then I'm going to mirror 2 down. That one over. And we'll have to confirm that because I can't quite see that one in the picture. But now it tells me that I've got them done either side. So these are the two I'm going to leave alone until I get a better picture to be able to really look at it. So I'm going to go through reverse delta. But before I do that, I just remembered something. Okay, so here it's like cut. Back here and it's cut. They just butchered it. But at the other end of the issue, it is the right, it's the old piece. So on these, where are you? That one and that one are flipped. So they're flipped at this end at the beam, but they're not flipped at the other end because they're cut. And so if I were to take, and let's just draw a line anywhere. Let's do the middle. Why not? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim to here. And I want that one gone and that one gone. But at the other end, I want this one gone and this one gone. And I don't know where this occurs yet. But let's just turn that right now to the junk layer, which is probably frozen. Oh, I can't even get to it because my layer's set. It's set to structural. So if I go to my general layers and set it to that, I can't. Okay, so that went to a locked layer, but it's all right. Let's save it. And now I'm going to go through and flip the rest, and then we'll figure out what's going on with this one here. So here I am going through flipping all these. When I know that's 5/8 between, or sorry, 1 5/8. So 2 1/4. If I just move, I can do them all at once. So I'm going to move. Oh, these ones from here 0.25. Oh, oh, look at that. That didn't work. Undo. So distance to there should be 1.58. It is. So 3 1/4. Sometimes just got to see the numbers from there. 0.25. That looks better. Now, I don't really know what happens with the stair, but I don't think it's going to be a critical issue at this time. If it does become one, I'll have to go down and get those locations. So I'm going to hit save, and then it's this one that's in question as to what side it goes to. Because in this picture, stretch it some more. In this picture, I can see that this is good, this is good. That's flipped. Here's flipped. And this one appears to be there. But I just need a better picture. Let's see if we've got one. And I will go through these a little on my own and come back. This is not a bad picture, number 1746. It is in the basement main folder. But if you notice, there's the other side. Then here's new wood flipped, new wood flipped. And being this is the close wall and that's the purple paint, then that has got to be east. And so this guy is hard to still see that part. Yeah, it's too dark. But that one and that one are definitely flipped. And so this one that's over this post is not flipped. So let's look at the next post over. So this one's not flipped, but and that's coming back this way. So it almost looks, yeah, so the two towards me are flipped. This one we kind of verified was not. Then I got two that are. And I'm already down to this guy in this picture. If I take a look, I've got the purple post, this post here, it's got one over it, and then this one we determined was not flipped, and so that's that one that's too dark to see. The next one over is this guy and this guy. So flipped, flipped. Then I'm at the post not flipped. I think we're in good shape. This is what we've got here right now. I'm going to take that as an accept. Save it. So whatever happens at the other end, I got to figure that out. This is that next post, and I believe that's post 7. Yeah, 7 right there. You can see it's got blocking and all this stuff that starts to happen down at this other end. And so I've got an extra piece of blocking in there. And that is be towards the bad side, so it's going to be this guy. So if I were to copy this from here to here, and then I take it and I pull it up, and then I'll change it to yellow because I haven't figured it out yet. So I'm going to even take these guys and make them stand out. Let's get these guys to be yellow too for now. Okay, so now I can save and go back to pictures and see what I can figure out. And then I'll share. So this is kind of an example of some of the shoddiness of this. I mean, old lumber probably was not perfectly dimensional as it's 9.5. So they ran out by dimensional lumber. They did shim it. I didn't give them a good enough job because it's not sitting here or here. So you can tell it's the new lumber. This is some RS, probably out of a local mill. This is imported from another state, more than likely. But, you know, it's all dimensional, nominal lumber. So it works for new construction. And this is where I'm talking about. Like here, we've got maybe a 2x8 with something else on top. And then all sorts of scabbing together. And this one scabs from here back over to here. This new lumber comes in here, and the old piece is offset over here. And that's why I said on that back half, I left those pieces. And they even shift. And then if you look up, this board is no longer at 45-degree angle as it is in the original material. It's now 90 degrees. So whatever they did upstairs in this area, I'm a little unclear. And that's image 1759. Here's more images of how this thing goes together. But boy, I almost need to lay on my back, have somebody hold tapes on this stuff, and if I wanted to figure it all out. But mainly I just need to know what was disturbed and what are we going to do about it. And this is kind of like the house I did up the street, where just a lot of bastardization and you know, stick nails through so it'll stay there. But is it holding anything? Well, I don't know when this was done, but it was done before these people bought the house, so it's been here for years. And I don't feel squishiness to the floor, so it's kind of an optional deal as to whether or not they decide that they want to fix it. So, just educating on it, and we'll go from there and get some decisions. So, no, that's. Yeah, see, this is new lumber, and then you can see it was like maybe some siding or whatever they found up the street. That looks like an old piece, but it's like they did lay this stuff to match with the old flooring that was at angle, or subfloor, I should say. And remember that right above this area, we've got a double floor thickness too. And why is that? Is it everywhere? Just don't have the answers to that. That one's even a little tough to tell exactly what's going on. Maybe it's the ring plumbing in, but here they cut the bottom. So drilling a hole is allowed, but when you cut the bottom, you've turned this whole piece of lumber, not just this part. The whole thing is essentially this dimension now. Instead of being 9.5 inches, it's now maybe 6. And that's holding your floor up. It's 2x6. And when you cut it completely in half, the one thing they did do is they put these kind of like a corbel type deal with a post typically in the middle. And then where they cut through the lumber, in this case it's new lumber, so I don't even know exactly what's going on here, locked it up. But there's no strapping. There's nothing to keep this from rolling, except for the fact that on either side there's joists that are properly supported. But then again, close to where we've got this issue, we have this issue. And here I am. Maybe that helps. So here's the cut. New, old, cut up through. Mouse instead of my highlighter. Sorry about that. So that's where I'm at with this, and I'm gonna let this go as what we've done for tonight.